on camera right now.
I feel like my brain is on fire with roller skating.
Wheels on wheels with Mean Bean.
Today's special guest is Zweck, pronoun she, her, otherwise known as Katie. Zweck is the head coach of Ottawa Valley Roller Derby. She is also a coach and skater for the Ottawa Valley Roller Derby Rapids, a skater for the Team Canada Development Squad, and also a skater for Toronto Mixed Roller Derby.
Hi, I'm Mean Bean, and this is Wheels on Wheels, a talk show about roller skating. Hi, Katie, or Zweck. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm just wondering, can you start from the beginning? Like, how did you get started in Derby, and how did you get started skating?
So we just did some quick math. I started skating at Ottawa Roller Derby. I did their crash course at the end of 2012. So I am on year 12, I want to say, season 12 now. Yes, so it's been a minute.
That's amazing. What made you want to join Derby?
Oh, so like I think everyone in that generation, I saw a Whippet. Before that, there was a roller derby like reality TV show on, I want to say A&E, when I was a tween, and I thought that was pretty much the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I was finishing up my degree, and everyone I met at university I didn't like very much, and I just felt like I was really lacking a way to meet cool, interesting people, and then I found like the best way to meet cool, interesting people.
Amen to that. Yeah, for sure.
Looking for something new, and I Googled it, and there was a crash course starting like 2 weeks later. I did it, and I have not stopped for 12 years, pretty much. Yeah.
So your experience as a rookie is way different than today's experience of rookies, right? Because you had to do the minimum skills, and also you've been through a few rule set changes, I think.
Yeah, so I came in like right after the major and minors were changed, and there was a whole bunch of other ones. But so I was part of the generation that was like trying out this new rule set, I guess, but was told constantly about like back in my day, this is how it went. But yes, it has been, I don't know, that's one of the things that's really interesting about Derby, is that it's constantly growing and evolving, and how we play it has changed like completely. I want to say 3 or 4 separate times in the time I've had the chance to play it, and it's, I don't know, it really itches my brain in a really delightful way.
Yeah, and I remember seeing old videos, so you guys didn't even have tripods, right?
Oh no, it was like a flat, no one skated backwards, and then we learned how to skate backwards, and then everyone skated backwards too much. But yeah, no, we used to do like, I'm covering lane 1, and that is my only job, and then just 1, 2, 3, 4, one body per lane, and it was really fast.
And were you more of a jammer or a blocker?
When I first started, I played 3 seasons with the Ottawa Bytown Blackhearts, and we would all jam and block, which is also very different than training I'm doing now. So I would be like a 5 rotation, and you would block 2 or 3, and then jam 1, and then sit 1, which is very different. I was a jammer, but I was consistently not a very successful one.
And I remember seeing some footage, and I'll probably put it in, of you guys winning the 2015-16 championship. Was it a loco?
It was a loco, just like a tournament that we participated in. I also watched the footage when you shared it with me, and it.
Do you remember being there?
I do very much remember being there. It was the last time I played low contact derby, and it was affirming for me that I was like, no, I always want to hit. I love the physicality of full contact derby, and low contact is an interesting challenge, but I miss the hitting.
That's fair. That's totally fair. So how would you describe yourself as a baby skater? Like, were you always athletic, or no?
Derby was my first sport ever. I grew up like downhill skiing and like ice skating and things like that, but like all very solo things. I ran, like, again, nowhere fast. So like when I started with like 0 sport or endurance or cardio or mobility, really. It took a long time to get strong enough that it didn't hurt to squat all the time.
It's fair.
Yeah.
At some point you went from Ottawa Roller Derby to, was it Ottawa Valley Roller Derby at the time, or was it a different league, right?
Yeah, so I transferred with a cohort of skaters who left Ottawa Roller Derby all at the same time, and it was a lot of people who were like consistently giving me a lot of challenge at practice, like in terms of like the skill level, and I wanted to go where I was going to be continuously challenged. And so I transferred to the now no longer existing Rideau Valley Roller Girls at the time, and then we became Rideau Valley Roller Derby. And then that merged
With Capital City?
and then we became Ottawa Valley Roller Derby. So I played for a lot of the different iterations of Derby in Ottawa.
Would you have always considered yourself competitive?
Like, in my regular life, yes, but like pretty much only with myself, a bit of a perfectionist. And then I started playing like more competitively with Rideau Valley, but it took like many years before I would say I played like truly competitive derby, despite the fact that I was playing derby the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I guess was always competitive with myself in terms of like wanting to continually improve, but I'm never really been the kind of skater who's like, we've got to crush this team.
And rankings and being worried about rankings, did that happen eventually?
Yeah. Derby is such a team sport. Like, I always wanted to like contribute, obviously, to my team and make sure that I was fulfilling my role in it, but I guess I've never felt like personally responsible for the success of the team. Maybe I should have. In the Rideau Valley years, and then when we became Ottawa Valley Roller Derby, like pre-COVID, it was a pretty competitive program, and we were constantly trying to push in the rankings. We ebbed and flowed. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. The reason why I'm asking these questions is because obviously you're on the development squad for Team Canada.
Yes.
I think you also did Team Ontario for a bit, right?
Yes.
So, like, how does that happen? How does Katie go from watching Whip It to Team Canada? I guess, can you try and explain that?
Yeah. So Derby shut down. The world shut down because of COVID. And coming back, it took such a long time for Ottawa to build, and I'm really proud of where we are as a league now, but sort of like in 2022. At home, we were spending a lot of time like developing people and taking people who had never played derby before and bringing them to the level of being able to play active derby and having enough bodies to do that. But if I wanted to play at a level that was somewhat competitive for me, I had to go elsewhere. I also moved to the same small town as my teammate Jenna Harding at that same time, and she is one of the most competitive people I've ever met. And so when Team Ontario was like a possibility, she was like, we should go, we should do this. And I was like, okay, sure. And then I feel like I've just been kind of on that train ever since, of just being like, okay, why not, let's try. And I don't know, here we are.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Have you always been like, let's try, or is that something you developed through derby?
I think derby has, I don't know, I just like owe everything to derby. Derby was one of the first things that I loved enough that I wanted to be brave enough to try hard things, and I still have to like psych myself up a lot. But also the thing about derby is like, I've never regretted trying. Like, even like I don't make the team, or I make the team, I don't play, things like that. Like it's always been, or you know, I don't want to go to practice, I'm tired. I never ultimately regret making myself try, or at least very, very rarely. This community has been so supportive and has taught me to like, it's okay to try and fail, and it's worth trying even if you are guaranteed to fail.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And also, before I started recording, you were telling me about these crazy long practices of Team Canada. Can you tell me that story again?
Sure. We were just talking about like, we have Team Canada practice this weekend. It's the last one leading into World Cup. So we have a 3-hour practice, and then we're playing a game afterwards, but we have so little time to train together as a team, or even as half the team, that we have to really like put the time in on skates. So like, we have managed to get together as a team, or like the regional section of the team, once a month since last October. But like, when we are together, it's sort of a marathon. In January, it was I think like a 6-hour practice, then a game, then the next day another 4 hours.
Sorry, 6 hours and then a game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was very tired.
7 hours. So I'll just let that sink in for a second.
I just love to get together with my friends and a whole bunch of people or my teammates that I don't know terribly well, and just sprint around a gym for a lot of hours. Yep.
What could you say is the difference? Like, what do you gain? I'm sure you gain a lot, but what are some of the things that you've gained from playing in that hyper competitive, like Team Ontario and then Team Canada? like at that high level of play?
I really love learning about strategy and love learning about what's going on in other people's brains when it comes to derby. Like I've had the benefit of being exposed to a lot of really incredible coaches over the years, but like I feel like I'm still hungry for that knowledge. I want to bring it home and I want to share it with everyone here, and so getting to learn from so many different people, and like we have wonderful coaches, but on top of that, I would be willing to guess that somewhere between 75 and 100% of the people on Team Canada are also coaches in their home league. So there's just like so much to like eat up like little snacks. So it's also just been lovely to meet people who feel as passionately about this weird pastime, who are like, oh, it's not weird to fly across the country on your own dime to see a inside of an arena in Red Deer for a weekend, you know? To be like, yes, no, that's a very normal thing to do. And I'm like, yes, it is a very normal thing to do.
To be fair, though, I feel like representing your country, especially a large country like Canada, I think that is pretty normal. I think. Yeah. I think so. And you are so busy because head coach of OVRDA, and then you're also coach of the A team, right? The Rapids.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you do that. Obviously, you come to practice, and then you have Team Canada. So how do you manage it all?
An easy day job. No. No, I do have the benefit. I work from home, and I have the type of job where I'm able to like do administrative things on the side, which does help significantly. But I've also like structured my lifestyle quite a lot around being able to play derby. I split my time between like a regular 9-to-5 job and then a freelance job so that I can sometimes not freelance and travel and go do derby shenanigans. But I would say that much of my life is structured around making this work. I'm obsessed.
That's fair. Well, it's a great thing. Like you said earlier, like finding cool people in the community alone is just a huge part of it, right?
Yeah.
I also want to ask you, I'm going to come back to derby, but I want to ask you about, on your Instagram, you post every day.
Oh, yeah.
You draw every day, and it's so great. And I noticed that lately there's quite a few roller skating drawing. So do you want to talk about that challenge and what inspired you to do that?
Sure. So I do drawing every day, call it a daily drawing. It's very original. I started doing that as a New Year's resolution in January 1st, 2016. I'm over 3,000 illustrations in, and I was not working in a creative field at the time and wanted to find a place for art to be in my life, and then I ultimately quit my job and ran away to art school and made art more of a bigger part of my life. But when you draw every single day, a lot of times you run out of things to draw because you can only draw your dog so many times, and I have. But a lot of it ends up being very autobiographical. Derby is a huge part of my life, and derby travel and all of the people that I share this with, so it manifests itself in my art a lot, and it has become like a really nice way for me to express myself and how I feel about my teammates. And I have found over the years that like being able to draw us all together, or like draw the team mascot, or like incorporate creativity into ways that make us stronger as a team, or even just like make the people that I think are special feel special, is like my favorite.
And you've done some beautiful art for our local roller skate shop.
Oh yeah!
Rito Rollers. So the little snake and skate design is so adorable, and then their new T-shirt. Do you have it? I don't have it.
I don't have a T-shirt, but I got a sticker. I got a sticker.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, I love Rito Rollers, and Mix, who runs and owns the stores, has been incredibly supportive of me. And I also want to shout out Neon Skates, the predecessor store here in Ottawa. I worked there when I was in school, and being able to draw roller skates for my community is like, and to get paid for it is like pretty much, I don't know, a dream. No complaint. I'm a very lucky individual.
So I wanted to ask, since I have you and you're so experienced and you've had like this wealth of derby experiences, do you have any wisdom you can share? And I'll help frame it in different ways. So,
Sure.
like, there's skaters in different periods of their derby journey. So why don't I ask you for advice for, like, let's say fresher skaters, maybe for the skaters who have been at it for a few years, and then skaters who are more veteran. Like, anything you want to offer as advice. It could be something about, like, not making the roster, like how you deal with that, or like for fresher skaters, you know, tackling fear, anything like that.
I think my advice might be the same for everyone, and
Ooh.
it might just be to just keep showing up. I have seen memes where it's like, you know, train when you're happy, train when you're sad, train when you're tired, train when you're angry, train when you're, and like, obviously have healthy boundaries around what you do, but at the same time keep showing up to practice and keep trying. Every athlete, regardless of the level that they are playing at, experiences positives and negatives, experiences successes and experiences failures, and sometimes it's really complicated and they're both equally at the same time, and there's always something to learn and grow from, whether it is a success or a failure, but you can't do anything with that if you're not at practice with your team.
That's fair.
So you didn't make the roster, maybe you'll make it next time. You take it real classy and keep showing up. Like, people notice I've not been on a lot of rosters and I kept showing up, and I kept showing up longer than other people did, like truly, like years of waiting.
That's fair. So I might as well give it to Katie, you know. She's not gonna give up.
But truly, I just kept showing up, and they're like, all right, well, she's keen. But I mean, it's one piece of being coachable is like, well, can't deny like, she was there.
That's fair.
So I don't know if that's particularly wise, but you can't.
I think so. Yeah.
You can't make a roster if you're not trying to, you know?
That's totally fair. Yeah. So that's how you motivate yourself through disappointment. If you have any sort of disappointment with derby, is you're.
Yeah. I mean, I'm competitive enough with myself that if I don't kind of get what I want, then I'm like, well, I gotta try hard. I gotta figure out how to do it better. And I feel like 12 years in, I still am like, oh God, there's so much to do. So much work to do. Yeah, there's so much work to do.
And as a coach, so you mentioned being coachable. So what are some other traits that you would say, like, for people who are looking to be more coachable? What?
Oh my gosh. There's so much that goes into being coachable, like, that has very little to do with being
Good at derby?
Yeah. And I kind of wish that people took those things a little bit more seriously. Like, I can teach people how to run on their toe stops. I can teach people how to do strategy. I can't teach people how to be good teammates or, like, understand the value of teamwork and things like that. I mean, I can try, but it's a lot harder. And so there's a lot of sort of those, like, not skating skills. Yeah. Ooh, soft skills. Yes. Yes. That I feel like derby is really beautiful because it is a lot of people's first sport. And I think that as a coach, I have to not only teach people how to play the game sometimes, I also have to teach them how to be an athlete, and that's something I also had to learn. I try to be helpful, but it's certainly one of the things that I think it's not black and white to coach, certainly. No, I mean, truly, nothing is. I like to think of myself as a very empathetic person and as an empathetic coach, and, like, there's so many reasons that people are like, I can't be at practice, and they're, like, incredibly valid. Like, it's childcare, it's financial, it's like work schedules, it's having other priorities in your life, as every single one of us does. And so I also try and, like, hold space, I guess, for the fact that, like, not everyone has the privilege to make this their, like, 100% of their energy and meet every athlete where they are and give them something that is positive for them in this community. Yeah.
And I think there is quite a bit of opportunity, just depending on, you know, what your skill level is and how competitive and how much time you have to dedicate to it.
We've worked really hard in the last, like, 3 or 4 years for Ottawa Valley Roller Derby specifically, trying to make sure that we're creating accessible points of entry for as many groups of folks as possible into the sport. And I think we're doing a good job, but it's certainly something that we're constantly trying to grow and change and keep up with.
What do you owe that success to?
This community of people, my community directly here in Ottawa with the league, but then also, like, through doing Team Canada, through doing Team Ontario, I also have the privilege of a network of people who love this sport across the country now. That's wild. And having the opportunity to learn and grow, and not only like as an athlete, but also like how we structure our community, how we set in place systems that support accessibility, that support like inclusiveness within our sport. That's also something I'm really interested in, and wanting to make sure that we're doing the best we possibly can here in Ottawa by learning from everyone else I can get to talk to me about roller derby, basically.
I don't know how to phrase this question, but since we're kind of on this topic, one thing I've thought about a lot as far as inclusivity goes is I feel like there are people who would probably benefit a lot from roller derby, but who can't do roller derby because they have a job that requires them to like be on their feet or something physical, and they can't afford to have a concussion or, you know, break a leg or something. And I don't really know how you solve that, right? Like, I feel like derby can only get inclusive to a point, but you can never guarantee someone's safety, right?
No, certainly. To be able to even be on skates, there's so much privilege in that. And I don't truly know what the answer is. Trying to create a community that is welcoming and accepting of folks wherever they are, I think is something we've tried to do as a league. I won't speak for like all of league leadership, but certainly something that I value. And there are like a lot of barriers to playing derby. There's, I don't think a lot of, I could be speaking out of turn, but like there's not a huge barrier to participating in the community. There's space, and I would certainly love the ability to create more space for anyone who wants to participate in whatever that looks like for them.
I think the beautiful thing too about roller derby is that it's not just about the players, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like there's the officials community. So if you know, derby is something you can't necessarily do. You can be a referee if you really want to skate, or if you want to just be part of the community, you can be an NSO. And you know, tonight we're doing that officials night. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
This sport takes so many bodies to make it happen, and I've tried to do it with only skaters, and it doesn't work. The labor that goes into not just officiating this game, but also the setup, the teardown, the promotion, the announcing, the like administrative skills and organizing, the community organizing that happens at roller derby has taught me everything that I know about community organizing, honestly, and it's pretty impeccable.
It's run like a business.
Yeah, I mean,
and a really well-run machine, I think.
I'm glad that it feels that way.
I mean, from the outside looking, well, no, I'm not on the outside, but
you're deep inside. No, I mean, obviously every organization has conflicts and hurdles, but we also have the loveliest, most dedicated humans who work pretty tirelessly to make it as good as possible. We're very, as I said, very lucky. Yeah.
Back to you personally. What are your goals for derby going forward?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel like I'm constantly trying to figure a balance between coaching and playing. I really enjoy both, and trying to do both at once is, well, I'm not particularly good at it. I'm sure there are lots of folks who are, but so trying to figure out that balance, I think is a goal. I don't know if it exists. I think it's like a constant push and pull that there's no succeed. There's just try. I'm playing my first season in the MRDA this year with Toronto Mixed Roller Derby, and I've played, I think, four games now. And I feel like, well, it's like the same rule set. The sport, it's very different, and I feel like my brain, there are wheels turning. I'm like, I have to figure this out, and I have not figured it out yet. And I think it's just trying a lot more is the way to do it. Yeah, it's different in a lot of ways. Yeah, but also really fun. So.
Do you ever foresee an MRDA team returning to Ottawa? Because there used to be Slaughter Squad, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that if there is a demand for any type of team at Ottawa Valley Roller Derby, we will build it. Since coming back, since the COVID lockdowns, we've grown the league by at least one team every year in terms of trying to like build, well, there was not demand for more than one team in the first year, so like, but you know what I mean, building back in a sort of sustainable way. But our league is just, we're very fortunate that there's a lot of interest. We have a really thriving community here, and if there's appetite, we have the ability to organize. So
that's amazing. The B team is new this year, so that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And the House League, I think this is the second year, right? Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
Oh my gosh.
Any fun derby stories from current day or back in the day?
Oh boy. Nothing really comes to mind. I've had the privilege of skating with and against and for so many people who have truly just like literally changed my life, and I'm really just grateful, and I hope that I can, in my capacity as a coach or teammate, impact people positively as well.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
I don't think I have anything else anyways, but that's
awesome.
good.
And I want to say, Bean, that the work that you're doing for the community here in Ottawa and like has been so interesting, and like a take that I don't think that anyone has been exploring, and your care and attention to detail and like wanting to know about all of roller derby in Ottawa and roller skating in Ottawa and our community and its history feels really special to me. That in and of itself is very special to me, and the fact that someone else cares too is also.
It's so interesting. I feel like even if I couldn't skate, I would still want to be involved somehow. Like there's something really special about.
We're gems.
Yeah, seriously.
All